It's another one. That's right. But I think today it needs to be about anchoring. And the reason I want to talk about anchoring and yachts and boats is that a lot of people just don't get the concept right. Seeing as we dragged last night, I might as well review why and what we do about it when we do drag. Alright, so here's the scenario. We arrived after cruising in from Palm Beach, coming into Panama onto the Atlantic side in around Colon, and I'm anchored, fine. Depth of water, just to give you an idea, it's 7 meters underneath the keel, and I've gone and put out just over about 2.5 shots. So we're looking at probably somewhere in the vicinity of about 65 meters worth of chain. But somewhere in that ballpark, with a snubber on as well. So I get a phone call at silly o'clock in the morning to say, hey, I think we're dragging. So in my cabin, I have a screen up and that shows everything that's up here, but down in my cabin. So if I get a phone call, they can turn around and tell me, hey, Luke, I've got a concern, and we can address it. So the call last night was, hey, I think we're dragging. And immediately, as soon as I woke up and I looked at the screen, I could tell, yeah, indeed, we were actually dragging. So this is what they were looking at, which is this one. So the anchor was up here, and we'd sat there, and then ever so slowly, she'd started dragging. The piece of the puzzle, this one, is why we were dragging in the first place. And normally, we have an internal rule on yachts that anything over 15 knots, you have someone at the bridge full time, monitoring just for scenarios like that. And when I looked at the plotter on the screen, I could tell that the wind was actually up around 20 to 21 knots. So that accounted for us dragging. Where it got a little bit annoying is that I would have thought after resetting and putting out more chain, I would have been fine. But where we were anchoring was kind of a little tight because I had a small sailboat and I have these yellow special marks that I'm trying to stay away from. I've picked up anchor, I've dropped, and that was the second one. I've gone down, lay in bed, and then I watch the track slide, and you can see it on here, maybe just a little bit, just started sliding a little bit, and I knew we hadn't anchored properly. So, back up, engine start up again, let's pick it up and let's move out. But this time, because of where we are, I'd asked for permission to move outside of our little box. So I've anchored a little bit further out, still loads and loads of space, but this time I've put about 5 shots of chain in the water. And for 7 meters under the boat, that's not a normal occurrence. But what I've realized is that the bottom is really, really soft. So if the wind picks up and there's not enough chain in the water, then we're basically just pulling it through the mud and the muck. My little thought process for today, and especially for anybody that's not doing this all the time or is anchoring overnight in certain areas, moorings are a great idea, but they're not always going to be completely fail-safe. But from a professional standpoint, if you ever got the opportunity to put someone on 24 hours or set alarms and things like that, do it. It's worthwhile. I've seen boats sort of rocket past in the middle of the night and nobody on watch or watching, and they basically start floating out to sea. And the last part really is you just got to be safe. You just got to use the noggin. But at least you know what I know when it comes to the whole anchoring thing. Typically the 5-to-1, or anywhere between a 3-to-1 and a 5-to-1 ratio of depth and chain is normally good. But I think when you've got a boat like Bella that's got a lot of windage, we overcompensate and put out a little bit more chain. So yeah. So, as always, I just wanted to keep it short and sweet. Put that in the memory bank. If you like the information that you heard, subscribe, share it, tell people, like it. I know anchoring's not a sexy topic, but hey, it's one of those things you got to talk about, especially if you're, on the deck side. Be aware of what happens. And as always, have an awesome time. Thanks for watching, and yeah, look after yourself.